Hi, this is the elementary Sunday school lesson for this coming Sunday, May 13th. The class will begin at 10 o'clock in the temporary building. Just go to the childcare room and get any of the kids ages 1st through 5th grade, and one of the staff members will also be over to help you. The story is called Elijah Turns Back the Soldiers. It's on page 110 in the Shine Bible, and it's from 2 Kings chapter 6, verses 8 through 23. This is a interesting story, and in a nutshell, it's about mercy versus revenge. And that's probably a concept, for elementary school kids who study, the great wars in our history and things like this. The idea that you would show mercy to your enemies, especially in a time of war, is something that they don't hear about very often. And revenge is something that anyone feels like they understand and they know what that emotion is like. So this story is obviously about someone showing mercy, and it's a little bit long and involved, but I think the kids will enjoy reading it because it's action packed as well, because it's about a battle and God, turning people blind and then being led to their enemies, and then they're not blind and they're surrounded. And what happens is that instead of taking them prisoner or killing them, they serve them a meal and they sit down together and they celebrate, and they end up, peace is restored after that. So not something we see every day, but something worth talking about even on a micro scale in their lives. So I would recommend reading the story. It's really a story of reflection. There's not a whole lot of action of the activities, despite the fact that the story has a lot of action. There's a couple of really good activities, though. So there's this first one, and this is on page 68 of the lesson I'll send you, called Build Community. So the idea is, one of the things that happens is that an army is turned blind by God because Elijah the prophet has told the king of Israel that they're trying to attack Israel. So they're blinded and they can't see anything, and then they're led into Israel where they're surrounded. The idea is to take a cloth bag, and I have this, so I'll put it in there, with some common household items, and let the kids close their eyes and just feel the bag and see if they can figure out what's in it, just to get this kind of concept of what it's like to not see and have that reality for them. That doesn't affect anyone in our immediate group, but maybe people they know or family members might have that as a reality for them. And then there's some great questions that go along with the story. This is on page 69 under the Wonder and Reflect section. Two of the ones I like are, I wonder how it felt for the people of Aram to suddenly lose their sight. And then I wonder what you would do if your enemies were vulnerable before you. And this is a great question in terms of, and maybe enemy is a strong word, but someone you don't like is in a position of vulnerability, and how do you react to that? And then there's the peace notes section, also on that same page, right down there. And this again is about that discussion between mercy and revenge, and give the kids an opportunity to think of times where maybe they've seen another person show compassion or empathy in a situation they didn't expect it, or they would have expected it to be easier for someone to lash out or get revenge, and instead they acted with compassion. It's a theme that we will constantly come back to because it's a theme that we see throughout the Bible and is so rarely acted on, especially in a war situation. I might also try and find some other real life examples that we can talk to the kids about, because it's easy to say, oh, sure, yeah, I do that on the playground, but I mean, you're at war, you shouldn't do that. And obviously that's not the case. You can show compassion and empathy and mercy at all times. And that's an important message. The Octotel is that 8-sided paper dice that's up there where you have a beginning of a sentence and then the child finishes it. That might be a good way to round out this story, because there's so much to think about and process, and this is another way to do that, where they'll roll it and then finish the sentence, basically. What does it mean to them? What are they still thinking about? What are they curious about, etc. There are some other things in here, and when I send you this, if there's something else you want to do, that's fine too. Just let me know. I will have materials. Oh, there is one more item. Oh, there's this activity. It's called Code Breaker, and I have about 10 copies of this, which I think will be plenty. And it's really just a word game where there's a phrase down here from the story, and they match the letters to the symbols and figure out what that code says. If there are kids who are interested in working in a solitary mode, this is something they can do. So I'll have these available as well. Let me know if you have any questions about it, and thank you so much.